Joe Holtzman saying greetings from sunny Estes Park, Colorado. He's the first on. John Hanfield in the sailing capital of the Americas, I assume he means Newport, Rhode Island. He's back up there. Neil Collingridge, hello, he's in Villamora.
Ooh, I'd like to be in Villamora.
I would too. Pedro Foiling Sailor Performance Tune on AC Cobra happening as we speak. Listen in the background, okay. Greetings from New York City. Hi, Peter Taylor.
Indeed.
Ted Ryman in Cape Town.
Uh-huh.
In the Republic of South Africa. He's going to get a finger wag, I think, Julie, at the end of the show.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's up to you. Okay, let's get this one through the proverbial starting line at my home Portage Yacht Club in Pinckney, Michigan. Live from Studio B in San Francisco's beautiful Marina District, just about 3 blocks away from the St. Francis Yacht Club. Welcome to Studio B, as I said, and welcome to show number 669. Julie, before you know it, it'll be 700.
I know. We have that we should celebrate somehow.
It's just a number, like our ever-increasing age.
I know. 70's not a bad age.
Julia Vadekind is, of course, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club. She really is. This is really a yacht club with, almost 150, 160 members now, and the coordinating producer of this show, my beloved landlady. I'm your host, Tom Eamon. Welcome to the show 669 for this, the Friday, the 15th of December, 10 days to Christmas, Julia.
Oh, who's ready? Nobody.
Well, we got to get ready. We have a show, Christmas night.
Yes.
Christmas night, the 25th, which is the 26th down under. Graham Sweeney saying hi from Shetland in the Scotland, up in Yell. Mm-hmm. Rick Manero saying hi from Connecticut. He's driving shortly, but he's going to watch on the phone. Don't watch, listen, maybe. Steve Atkins in Connecticut. Commodore Atkins, nice to see you on, sir. John Emmett, nice report from him. Hope his mother's watching. His mom's with him in Weymouth. Maybe she's watching, sitting on the couch. Chris Exley. Hi, Chris. Happy Friday to you, sir. Clark Chapin in Plymouth, Michigan. And Emmett is trying to work out whether to pack a Christmas jumper or not. An ugly sweater. Show 800 will be during the cup, maybe. About 2 a week, so that's another 100 away. That's probably about right, Alex. Maybe a little less than 800. Gordon Smith in Denmark. Yep, Mom's watching. Mama.
Yep.
To Marilyn, right? That's her name, isn't it? Marilyn Emmett is John's mom's name. James Frederick Bland. Bloody COVID finally got me. Oh, dear.
Oh, my.
3 years and 3 vaccinations later, healed after a few days of a light cold-like symptoms, I suppose he means. Okay, right. Jay Frederick, I hope you're...
Keep it up.
Doing better. Indeed, keep it up. Let's get this one going here, Julia. You probably saw on our cover slide, Bravo Zulu to them, and this will be our main feature today. Fantastic win by this, as Andy Rose predicted, the French are coming on strong in match racing, not just youth match racing, but we think across the board. And we'll tell you some more about Ange Delerce. Delerce, they were calling him Declerc on the television, but it's not Declerc. How do you pronounce that in French, Julia?
I think you did.
Delerce?
Yeah,
Delerce?
I think so.
Delerce? That's not like,
no.
That's Spanishizing it, Delerce.
Yeah.
And the kid he's emotional. He's fantastic. We'll tell you some more about him. And nobody had heard, many of us had never heard of him.
No.
Most of us had never heard of him until his win last night. I was watching late here with Ed Worley and others. We were watching the live coverage, good live coverage from Sydney, from the esteemed Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. So we'll tell you some more about Ange and his team at sea. They win the youth match racing worlds, and I didn't know whether to use that previous slide, that one, and then that's a screen grab I did as I was watching the video live. That's the one Ed Worley thought I should use as our cover slide today because it shows the faces. I like that shot. I was going to use that, and then we got that other screen grab. Cole Tapper, you recognize his name, Julie.
Absolutely.
As a is he 2 or 3 times in the Gov Cup? Terrific guy, has been sailing on and off with his brother, and a great sailor, and they were runners-up in a hotly contested final. They went to the full 5 race. It was first to win 3. And Cole, it was 2-2. He tied it up, came from behind, tied it up 2-2, and then didn't quite make the final grab there. But our Fozy Jeffrey Peterson and co. here from the U.S., the Golden State Match Racing team, they were third, winning the Petit Finale against Will Bolden, another Australian. And we'll give you the full details on all of that in a moment. Get into the B block. First, just a follow-up here on the horrific fire. It's been covered. I was surprised how much international attention it's gotten, Julia. The Daily Mail, the UK paper, covered it with a headline, horrifying photos showing LA's iconic California Yacht Club in Marina del Rey destroyed, except for the roof, in blaze as 2 firefighters are injured battling the inferno. I put this photo, I think this is a Bronnie Daniels photo, but a photo indoors at the beautiful Cal Yacht Club, as it's affectionately known. Mm. And the word is that the ownership group that had bought it, and it's a friend of John Sangmeister's, among others, that they fully intend to rebuild the club, maintain it as a yacht club, and make it bigger and better than ever.
Oh, that's good to know.
So I think some of those rumors about it being, they wanted to get rid of it and so on, I think that is complete rubbish.
It's in a perfect spot.
And it's in as you say, a beautiful spot. Boomer Bland saying the roof looks pretty good considering.
Yeah, I was going to say whoever built the roof ought to get recognition for that.
Well, I think it's tile, right? I think the walls, the wood, and it's it's an old building, and it was getting a bit
old building from the 60s.
Yeah, well, that's 60 years old.
It's a mere child.
Warren Schosser checking in from Brisbane. Hanfield saying Bravo Zoo to Cole Brower. Yeah, we're going to talk about Cole, not today, but we'll get to her. Greg Phillips in the Gold Coast. Yeah, that red flag for Tapper at the top mark. Yeah, I will. The officiating, and Russell Green was the chief umpire. He's very good. He's actually a protege of mine, a longtime friend. We've done a couple of cup campaigns together. And Jody Shields knows Russell well as Richard Slater, who was the deputy. And those two are arguably 2 of the best not even arguably 2 of the best in the world. Julie Aarons checking in from sunny Cleveland. She's wishing better, hoping that quick recovery to Boomer. Feel better, Boomer. Clayton Embley in the Bluegrass State. That's Kentucky if you're not here from the U.S. Mm-hmm. Joe Cool looking good on shore right now, but we'll watch later. Thanks for all you do. Thanks, Joe, for that kind comment. Running down, Jody Shields, do a live cross to me, Tom. I'll show you Lake Macquarie in all its glory. Okay. Put that up on Facebook. It's going to be tough to do, Jody. But if just take a picture, better yet, take a picture and put it on Facebook chat, on the Sailing Illustrated Facebook chat, and I'll grab it and see if I can put it up. I don't think it's a historical building, Baton Rouge, Baton Kennon, but it is Joe Holtzman saying, yes, it's Spanish. Joe used to live in SoCal, probably knows that club and clubhouse well. And old building, I'm sitting in a house, it's a mere 117 years old, Clark Chapin saying in Plymouth, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Well, Julia, this building
is 100 years old next year.
100, was it next year?
The 24.
24? Mm-hmm. Here in Julia's beautiful townhouse that houses Studio B and the Beach Street Yacht Club. And we have a nice backyard or garden, as many of you around the world would call it. Not that we ever use the backyard, Julia.
No.
You did some Tai Chi out there, I remember, at one point.
Yes, it's a nice place for Tai Chi.
Bing Bong says was for sure a Pinot, but he never gained penalty. Yeah, but he never gained an advantage because he already had an advantage. Yeah, there was a couple other strains. I didn't quite understand what it was at the finish of that. Actually, the penalty went the other way. We'll talk about that when we get into that series. Emmett, still good sailing at Weymouth in December. Some of the kids are still wearing shorts. Wow, that is amazing. Clubs are people. Buildings are just facilities. The club will survive. And there's a lot of good Samaritan work going on, Julie, because Sangmeister, for example, helped, as did a number of other people, helped
Right.
put them in touch, that is the Cal Yacht Club people, with the Commodore, the past Commodore of the Annapolis Yacht Club that you may remember
Oh, yes.
had a fire about the same time of year,
Mhm.
what, 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And the facility that they put up, and now it's times 3, is even better than what they had. Of course, we had a fire at St. Francis Yacht Club in what, 70?
89.
No, that was the earthquake. It was 70 something. 89 was the earthquake. 70 something. 76?
Yeah.
70 something. So,
Yes. That's
and of
76.
course, yeah, I mean, clubs around the world, as you're all saying, Clay Emily's right. We lost Southern Yacht Club in, what was that, Hurricane Katrina some years ago, what, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think you can put a picture in the chat, but you can put a link. Okay, put a link. That's right. Put a link in the chat and I'll try to grab it. John's family farmhouse is older than the USA. It predates 1776. Is that right, John?
Yes, he's told us that before.
Okay. But St. Francis burned down during the Christmas party, David James,
Yes.
in 76.
Yeah.
Photo is up, Jody Shields says. I'll go grab it. And look at that. It is smooth as a proverbial baby's bottom.
Ooh.
It is what time down there? 08:12 in the morning, Saturday. Jody's out on his boat. He must be headed out to do some fishing, Jody. Flat as a pancake. Nice shot. So we're getting better at grabbing some of these things, aren't we?
Yeah, that was well done.
Okay, let's do still in the A block here. We'll do what this day in history, and I couldn't find anything too interesting on the 15th. We try to find something that's relevant to sailing, to yachting, to any of you in your various countries, and this will strike a chord with a number of you. What happened, Julia, this day in history in 1773? Speaking of the start of this country, 73. Here's your first clue. Who among you will have any idea, even David James, what is that? That is your first clue to what happened on this day. Actually, tomorrow, the 16th. Hamish Ross, well done. He's enjoying his cup of tea. He is a clever boy, that Dr. Hamish Ross. Fog Machines got it officially with the Boston Tea Party.
Oh, there we go.
It is the East India Company's coat of arms dating from 1698. Graham Sweeney's got it as well. And of course, it was the East India Company Tea Party. Joe Holtzman says, yep. Now, do any of you know what that is relevant to the apropos, the Tea Party? You know what that is? I had no idea what that was, Julia.
Mm.
That, and obviously it was a group of patriots, and a predecessor, I guess, or at least maybe led to the American flag, the red and white stripes. There is the group of patriots known as the Sons of Liberty, and it was Adams and Jefferson and Revere, and I can't remember all whom were in that group that formed, and they were basically a terrorist group. Sons of Liberty formed in 1765 to fight GBR taxation.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite don't tread on me, but they were...
taxation without representation. Well,
that was the allegation here. And of course, it was on this date, tomorrow, the 16th, that the Boston Tea Party happened. Now, Britannia, interestingly, uses this W.D. Cooper illustration that's in the Library of Congress, and they, Britannica Online, say that on this day in 1773, and what is known, of course, as the Boston Tea Party, known today, by the way, it wasn't known then. It wasn't known until almost the America's Cup, to the 1850s or 60s. It became known as the Boston Tea Party. American colonists disguised, Britannica says, as Mohawk Indians. Look, I'll go back. You see that in that illustration?
Mm-hmm.
Disguised as Mohawk Indians through 342 chests of tea belonging to the British East India Company into Boston, Boston Harbor, to protest a tea tax, a tax on tea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what Wikipedia shows, and this is a little bit more recent illustration. This from Nathaniel Currier and Ives, of course, a lithograph from just 5 years before AC0, the first America's Cup, was entitled, this lithograph was entitled, "The Destruction of Tea at Boston Harbor, semicolon. The phrase Boston Tea Party had not yet become standard as late as 1846. And contrary to Currier's depiction, few of the men, according to Wikipedia, and I checked this source, the source number 22 there, few of the men dumping the tea were actually disguised as Native Americans. Okay. This day in history, at least tomorrow, the 16th of December, it's where it is in Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. The Boston Tea Party took place in 1773. That's Boston. Bah, Chris actually is saying.
Yeah.
The Dutch were a questionable bunch, but did you know what was the best Navy in the world? The French Navy. You'll never see them coming. Stingray. Art Linkletter is a reference to him. Postponement flag, TFI Fridays. Don't tread on me. Okay. Any other counter argument was that the tea tax, well, that's right. Clark Chavin's exactly right. I saw that when I was researching this segment. The counter argument was that the tea tax was to pay for the cost of providing troops, British troops, in Boston and beyond on the Western Front to protect settlers from the native population. Well, they were going to provide troops to do everything, to keep track of them.
And they did.
To keep track of the colonists, the bloody colonists.
Yes.
Colonials. Okay, Julia, what happened? What is celebrated? Sort of. I don't know that I've ever celebrated it on this day, on the 15th. Kind of apropos everything we're talking about. What is celebrated today in the USA?
Solstice.
No, there it is.
Or
on your monitor. The Bill of Rights Day. Apparently the Bill of Rights was finally, it took, a number of the states, you had to get, 3/4 of the states to ratify them, and it was on this date in 1791. After years of debate and deliberation, our forebears ratified the Bill of Rights. In doing so, they forever enshrined one of the most important documents in the modern history of the world, anyway.
Right.
They ratified the Bill of Rights. In doing so, they forever enshrined the fundamental rights and liberties we, the U.S. and beyond, hold sacred as Americans and set in motion the greatest self-governance experiment in the history of the world. And may it continue.
Indeed.
I think we're all a little worried about whether it continues or not, given the current state of play.
Yes.
Are you worried?
Yes.
Badly?
Depends on what time of day it is.
How much Fox News you watch.
Yeah.
And other news. Okay, now I thought you'd all love this segue from the Bill of Rights and the Boston Tea Party to this. I ran a photo of the Princess Royal on my Facebook page, and I got a lot of comments and some very nice comments from Fozy. Now, do you know why I put this on as my cover photo?
Yeah.
This and others, kind of enigmatic. I just put a cover photo up and let people figure out what it is and to what.
What?
To what? I don't want to end the sentence with it.
Okay.
To what it is in reference.
Mm-hmm.
So what was this in reference to? And I quote from the Telegraph. Does anyone know? Come on, you Brits must know this.
On December 15th?
No, just this is of late.
Of late.
Why did I put her photo up on my Facebook page as a cover? Nobody seems to know. People are Googling away. The Fozy are well steeped in the history of the Boston tea protest. You could call it an absolute tempest in a teapot.
Oh, gosh.
Rick Banner. Rhode Island is the reason we have the Bill of Rights, Baton Rouge is saying. Well, that could be true as well. She, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, has for the third year in a row been deemed by the Telegraph and others the hardest working royal of 2023.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
And, she's a sailor. So let's talk about that.
Right.
That was the actual photo I used.
Mm-hmm.
on my Facebook page. I love that photo. And Princess Anne, according to People magazine, attended the most royal engagements, in People magazine quoting from the Telegraph, of any member of the royal family in 2023, according to the Telegraph. And according to that newspaper's tally, using the court circular, the royal family's official record of previous engagement, the Princess Royal, 73, she's old, man, she's right up there with me, conducted 457 engagements, meaning that she keeps the crown of the most industrious for the third year running. And she often does multiple engagements per day as the hardest working royal. Now, here are some nice comments to that post on my Facebook page. Graham Sweeney said, I was the official photographer at the naming ceremony of the P&O Line's Aurora, the ship Aurora. Our paths crossed, that is with the Princess Royal, I assume he means not the ship. I was on the roof of the bridge to photograph the hoisting of the royal banner and given full roving access at the ceremony while the rest of the press were corralled tightly in the press box. There are many stories that I could tell over the several days of official festivities. One thing was very apparent: loyalty, duty, and a wonderful sense of humor.
What a nice combination.
And I can vouch for that, having had breakfast with her a couple times and dinner with her once, I guess twice, at various yachting events back in the day, including Keel Week. We had breakfast one time. Ted Ryman, Graham Sweeney, says he's responding to Graham's comment. We saw her fall off her, only Ryman, we saw her fall off her horse into a water splash at a jump at the badminton horse trials many years ago. She just said, F it, remounted her horse and carried on. She is one of my favorite royals, Ryman is saying. Yes. Of course, she's not only a sailor and her kids are sailors, but she's also, I think, Julie, she's still president of the FEI, the International Equestrian Federation. She was for a long time. For a long time, if not still. One more comment, this from our longtime friend, America's Cup, maybe the first modern woman to sail in the Cup. She was on Dennis's B team and I think sailed in a race or two in the trials back in the 83 era. Christy Erickson Pryor saying that the Princess Royal is the loyal daughter, sister, and mother to her family and her nation. So bravo Zulu to her.
Yes.
As we celebrate her amazing participation, contribution, endeavor, efforts on behalf of her beloved country.
And its traditions.
And she's proper. I think, I've said this many times before on this show, I think she's the smartest of the royals. I mean, I've never met Charles. I've met Andy. I've had an audience with him to take the America's Cup with Randy Andy, but that's another.
That's another story.
Hey, speaking of cool people, all of you who support us via Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated, thank you very much indeed for your support, continuing support. It's viewer-supported media. That's why we don't have you. And you're our sponsors, our patrons, right?
Right.
Julie, speaking of patrons, the Gillinghams who sent us, I got to turn this way, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing here on the desk is getting bigger and bigger as Gordon Smith has contributed and others. But today is the 15th, right, Julia?
Right.
So I'll reach back here and get out. Everybody knows and likes this stuff. Bon Maman?
Yes.
Bon Maman? How do you say that in French? And apparently, it's pretty special stuff.
It is. You haven't had it, evidently.
Well, I don't eat sugar.
I know. Oh, but it's really good.
There you go. So
it's really good.
There it is for the day. Thanks to Christopher and Jane Gillingham.
Mirabella Plum.
Okay. And before we get off the Brits, lots of comments here. Pedro Falling Sailor knows about her falling off her horse and saying the F word. She's the head of Trinity House. John Emmett said he met her when she handed out the awards at the National Schools Regatta. And she, too, makes a great cup of tea, Graham Sweeney says. Hey, Nadine Francic, one of the leading lights at St. Francis Yacht Club, a director and one of the top women in the club saw a photo of Princess Anne from many years ago on a J24 with Stuart and Ado Jardine in French of the UK. She's the James Brown of British royalty, Fog Machine says. That's nice.
Yeah.
Probably because some of the younger ones are goofing off. Yeah. I tell you what, that whole business with Harry, with the Americans, the Americans royalty, Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
Meghan is a real crouton. Emmett is saying Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal has been president of the Royal Yachting Association since 1987 and is also the patron of the RYA Foundation. Neil Collingridge, another Brit, a good friend of John's, and a Fozy, says she also turns up every year to the Youth Nationals and has genuine interest.
Terrific.
Clark Chapin, from what we read in the papers, the smartest of the royals isn't setting the bar very high. Yeah, I see, John Emmett, that Harry just won part of his court case against the media. That and 385, I'm not sure is going to buy him a Starbucks. Their foundation here, what is it called? The Archwell Foundation, is not doing particularly well. Speaking of Brits, esteemed Brits, let's get to the coach's corner here in the B block. John Emmett checking in. Super Fozy John Emmett with another report. Roll tape.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. You join me again in Weymouth, and I'm going to have a little chat with you about inclusion, because I think it's very important for the sport as a whole, for the growth of the sport, that we be as inclusive as possible. And this is one of the reasons I've been so keen to work with the Emerging Nations programme to try and help make sailing a global sport, so it's really there for everyone. Another reason why I think the Paralympics is such an important thing, and I really hope sailing can rejoin that, is because it shouldn't matter if you're able-bodied or disabled. The idea is that we all enjoy sailing and we all enjoy our sport, and there's sailing out there, something for everyone, regardless of the body size or the sort of physical ability. Just to get out on the water makes a huge difference, and it's something I hope I will do for the rest of my life. Indeed, in terms of the Olympics, I feel actually that the average weight range of athletes has only gone up when you have a lightweight boat in terms of crew size, like the 470 being removed from the Olympic Games. You've gone from the RSX to the IQ foil, which is a big jump up, big jump in athlete size. And then you've got the kite surfers, and there's some really big guys dominating that circuit at the moment. So it's important to be inclusive, whether it's the grassroots level or the elite. So I think this probably all starts at club level, and this mixing and everyone together, I think it's really important. We recently had our Christmas dinner. Yes, I know it's a bit early, but it suited me very well for the various travels. And I think, just for the Fozy, good chance of getting attacked by a dog. No, only joking. I think for the club, I was commenting, it's a shame there's no cadet table, because I do see young sailors being just the future of the sport. And that future, we've got to embrace it with our eyes open. I mean, we look at foiling, that cat is out the bag. Nobody's going to put that cat back in the bag now. I've never tried to put a cat in a bag, but I understand it's very difficult. You look at the America's Cup, that is the Formula One of sailing. That is the driving force. So of course, that's always going to be at the cutting edge of technology, whatever you decide that to be. But the use, that's where it is. And I think one of the things I like is everybody coming together at club level. Indeed, when I learned to sail, often you'd have young club sailors sailing with older sailors. So you could have somebody you're sailing with who's actually sailed more years than you've been alive, and you have that handover of experience, which is just such a useful thing, and that interaction. So that's why I was disappointed maybe not to see the cadets. It's something I try and help out with at Castle Cove, but actually even better would have been if all the cadets were there and sort of mixed in here and there with the older members, because one of the issues I think a lot of sailing club has is where the average age of a sailing club each year is increasing by nearly a year. So young blood, very, very important, and we need to make it just as appealing as we possibly can to those young sailors, because they are the future of the sport, even if maybe in 20 years time they're probably sailing quite different boats. than we were, 20 years ago. But we need to look after those young members. And that encouragement is so important. I think one of the easy ways to get people involved in a sport is sort of pay per play. So you just pay a small amount of money to come along and participate in the sport. But even better than that, Castle Cove, we've got so many keel boats. I think, for at least, I think it's 5 or 6 sessions, we can offer for people to come and sail for free. They just come and crew a keel boat. We've got lots of sort of slow water pushers who have fantastic racing, because the sonars or whatever, it's all one design racing. And then maybe, they see an Ilka off there in the distance and they actually go and get their own little dinghy and sail single-handed and, do some courses at the Andrew Simpson Centre and learn that way. But the important thing is that inclusion. And that's why I think it's such a big fan of just trying to promote all areas of the sport. In fact, I almost feel it's unhealthy to promote different areas of the sport, and you're going, well, keelboat sailing is better than winging, or match racing is better than massive fleet racing, or team racing is the best. I mean, it's all good. Personally, I've enjoyed just about every aspect, and that's why I'm keen with the head coach role, because I've sailed a 49er, I've sailed a Tornado, I've done all this. And it's all part of our beloved sport. And actually the real competition is other sports, or dare I say it, PlayStation, Netflix, all those things that leave you stuck on the sofa rather than getting out in the good, healthy, fresh air. So yeah, I want people to really think so hard about how we can be more inclusive, bring more people into our sport and keep them there, because in my humble opinion, sailing really is a sport for life.
Okay. What did you think of that, Julia?
I always believe him. I was just thinking that David James reminded us that in the U.S., sailing is the only college varsity sport that is co-ed.
And we should.
I thought archery was, but
there may be one or two others, but I think David's right. And regardless, I think we should celebrate that. And I know, Julie, you're not too keen about enforcing or requiring having mixed crews, mixed meaning men and women.
Welcoming them with open arms.
Yeah, for sure. But you don't like the requirement to have a crew, say in Sail GP, that has to have at least one woman on. I don't think that's. I've defended that position all along, and I know there's positions on both sides. To say that in the America's Cup, that may be. I don't know. Still may not be bad in the America's Cup either. But John's right, and I wonder, Julia, if we should change. Maybe we should change John's segment here from the Coach's Corner to the Philosophers. Philosophers what? So we need something with alliteration.
Stool.
No, with an F. An F or a PH. Philosophers, it's what? Help me out. The down on the Philosopher's Farm, since he's at the family farm. Ed Worley saying that they are not, meaning Harry and Meghan, are not American royal. Of course not, Ed. I'm teasing everybody. Those of you who were at the St. Francis Yacht Club Stag Cruise, where I produced the member show this year, I had a whole segment, 2 segments on Harry and Meghan. And I had Prince. I had King Charles in the show, too. One of our past Commodores playing King Charles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they love to talk about your stash, John. The Village People look. I don't know what else is going on here. I hope the dogs aren't taking a leak on your tripod. Now people are going to grow a stash in honor. I'm not growing a stash. John's got you see that he's got in audio, in movie production, when you put that windscreen on, that's called a dead cat. What's on his chest?
Yes.
It's a small one, obviously, but on that microphone. So he's got a stash on he's got a dead cat on his chest and one on his upper lip.
Fuzzy philosopher.
Fuzzy philosopher. Yeah, the fuzzy philosopher. Who came up with that?
Clark Chapin.
Chapin, perfect. Speaking of philosophers, there's a letter, Julia, that Clark Chapin, that Dr. Hamish Ross wrote in Scuttlebutt, and it was in Scuttlebutt, I think last night. If it's on the website now. If it's not, I'm not going to use it in today's show because I'm hoping we get Hamish back on. I see he's on the show watching.
Yeah,
get him back on here and talk about this whole issue. Maybe maybe we'll get Taylor Canfield's dad too, Bill Canfield, on, because he's the one who spawned the response about the America's Cup from Hamish, and maybe get the two of them on to talk, and maybe somebody wants to take up the other side of the issue. Gordon Smith or somebody do that. What else here? Philosopher's File, Philosopher's Funnel, Philosophers,
Falderall.
the Fosey Falderall. Yeah, Falderall. Thanks, Steve Gruber. That would be good. The philosopher, the Falderall philosopher. I turned on noise canceling to hide the barking. Okay, they going. You don't need to grow a stash. You'll probably get one in your Christmas crackers. I hope not. Julia, you don't have a scarf on today.
I know.
Why not? I asked you when you came down here.
Well, because it was going to be too
Move your
warm.
hand so people can see.
It's going to be too warm.
Too warm?
Well,
It's cool in the studio. It's cool outside here.
yeah.
Hamish Ross. You see that? Give him a finger wag, Julia. A philosopher's fart.
Oh,
Hamish
I didn't see
said.
that.
Guy Briere. Don't call me Guy. Guy Briere down in New Orleans. Or maybe east of New Orleans, saying the philosopher's folly with a PH. You like that?
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Thanks, John Emmett. Very nice, John Emmett sailing. We're going to have another John Emmett appearance here in a moment when we get into the Fosey. Speaking of FF, we got the Fosey focus here for today. We got a couple of things to focus on. The foci, maybe. Love that music. And this photo, focus.
That's
Fosey
right.
focus photo. That's his beloved mom, as you Brits would say, Mom, Marilyn. And remember, John said that they had a Christmas dinner. Well, that was Wednesday Eve. I saw this photo on his Facebook page. There's another F of John and his mom at the Castle Cove Sailing Club, and asked John to send me a high res, which he did. I wanted to stick it in because I know his
It's a
mom.
wonderful photo.
It is indeed. And they're sitting there. They're sitting there on the couch at John's place, I guess, in Weymouth, and watching the show. Happy Christmas, as you Brits would say to all of you. Now, here is you know who that clan is, Julia? Down in Oz. That is Harry and Olivia and
the
Christian and David Pricey. David
Yeah.
Price. And David's written, you should go, those, I'm sure many of you follow him, are friends of his on Facebook. He's written a very interesting post apropos all the things we talk about health and well-being and taking care of each other. He said the 2023 lesson, he says, is to have a plan. And he writes at great length. It's a very interesting post, something like my sister Ruth. You like to
Yes.
follow my sister
Yes.
Ruth's Fire Sign Fun. It's a really interesting post. And I didn't know this, but Harry Price has got ruptured discs, or maybe not ruptured, but it's got badly herniated discs in his lower back. And I've been through that 40 years ago. And I had two major operations in my lower back due to disc stuff when I was 20 and again when I was 30. And I know what a pain in the patoot and beyond that is. So he, at the height of all this, in the middle of all this, Harry, according to David's post, went out and sailed and won on Rag and Famish, two races. I guess it was last weekend. Maybe not as recent as that, but
Recently,
maybe
nonetheless.
not even recently, but in 2023, went out under this huge problem with his disc in his back. A lot of sailors have that problem because sailing is very tough on your lower back, and you know, L4, L5, S1, those discs.
Yeah.
And sailors' back. The only sport worse than that is hockey.
Yeah.
It is. Because it's the stature of people
Oh yeah.
playing hockey. You know, you skate hunched over with a stick in your hand, and you leverage the stick and the puck have leverage on you, and it's really tough on your lower back. But the Priceys, not only did Harry have a year, but Christiane, she's been taking care of all this crowd because Olivia had quite a year as well. She had an ACL or something, and she's fixed now and pressing on because she had a plan, according to David, a plan to get fixed and to do the rehab. You got to do the rehab. I learned that with my back operations. She's got a plan. She's pressing on with her America's Cup
Great.
Australian America's Cup,
I'm
Women's
glad.
America's Cup team,
Yeah.
as well as her Olympic program.
Yeah.
So bravo Zulu to her. And Pricey's had a hell of a year because a year ago he had open heart surgery, survived that in spades,
Yeah.
and now he's got another health challenge or two. So go read his post. It's uplifting. It puts a good cap on 2023 for all of us, and it's a lesson. Have a plan.
As it says, have a plan.
Have a plan. Speaking of plans, I got a plan thanks
Yeah.
to some help from Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin.
Yes.
Some recent stuff here. Finally, in the Fozzie Focus, Julia, you sent this photo to me this morning. I'd forgotten it was on this date in 2015 that my beloved father, we don't talk much about my father, but he's 90, works all day, every day, as Clark Chapin can attest, and Joe Holtzman and others, running our family business. I'm not kidding. He goes in 6-7 days a week and works from 9 till 6, running our family business at age 90. He's been doing that for almost 60 years. So bravo Zulu to him. We got him out here, which is very difficult to do, out of his own neck of the woods, out to St. Francis Yacht Club for the father's son Christmas lunch.
Yep.
Hard to believe, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He stayed over at your place, didn't he?
He did.
He's got a thing for you, I know.
Oh, well.
Won't tell his current girlfriend. Okay, enough of focusing for today, Friday, December 15th. It's the 16th Down Under. And speaking of Down Under, bravo Zulu to the winners and runners up and more, all the participants, and to the yacht club that hosted it, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, for hosting in grand style the 2023 World Youth Match Racing Championship. Long event, big event, supplied boats. They had a hotel that put all the kids up. 12 teams, in fact. It was won by Ange, Delerce, I guess you say, and company at sea from France. And as I said at the top of the show, Andy Rose has been saying for some time that because of the coaching, because of the interest, because of the backing of the French Sailing Federation, the FFV, this country is on the rise in not just youth match racing, but match racing in general. One of the top, if not the top sailing nations in the world, not just in match racing, as you all know. Mm-hmm. So I dug out finally, I tell you, I had a hell of a time finding the names of his crew, and I'm not sure who is who, but Ange is on the far right, that much I know. Julia, you can assume, is the one on the left of the 5 sailors, and then Julien Bunel, Corentin, Joulon, I guess, and Erwan Felio. I don't know in which order, but that is the winning team, and it took them all 5 races. It was first to win 3 against the Australian Cold Tapper. Bravo Zulu to them. Those of you who watched it, and obviously several of you did, last night, and it went till 10:15 our time here on the West Coast. Fantastic series. And as Ed Worley said, they had 2 young people doing the commentary. They had a 1080p 60 frames a second telecast, which is even better quality than we do for Gov Cup. We do some other things that are pretty good. But to their credit, the telecast was also, the commentators were on the water on a boat. There was a lot of noise on the boat. And it was an aluminum or a steel boat. I don't know. But nonetheless, the whole event, including the competition, was first rate. And as Ed Worley said, I've just paraphrased him, but he also said commentary was interesting. It was calm, fun to listen to. And in fact, they were almost too calm because it was exciting, even at walking speeds, as they say, although they had some breeze on and off through the series.
Mm-hmm. That's a good picture.
Worley's now saying the coverage was good, commentators were good. He said it much more succinctly than I just did, and sailing was great. Okay. Mm-hmm. They were terrific. And I give them full marks. Yeah. That's the crew. Now, this is the kid. This is the skipper. And his name, again, Ange Delerce. Few of us had heard of him. Mm-hmm. But you watch the video, and when he climbed on the boat afterwards, he was passionate. He was emotional. He was obviously quick on the water as well. And good stuff. Bravo Zulu to him and the rest of his team. Antibes is the scene. I see that some of you are having some slowdowns here in the video. We've got 4 green here on the 4 green bars, so that's full on, but I apologize if you're having some problems. Our internet connection may be a bit dodgy for the moment, hopefully not. But this is the FFV and also the French Youth America's Cup team. They had a big seminar in Antibes not too long ago, and this team has obviously benefited from that. Those of you who've been to Antibes know what a beautiful
Oh yes,
place.
I say it's gorgeous.
A beautiful place it is, and fabulous spot. There is where it is in the map, midway more or less between Nice and Saint-Tropez on the French Riviera. Beautiful spot. Cole Tapper, Max Brennan, Hamish Voss, and Chelsea Williams were second. They got to the finals and then took them all 5 races. Came back from behind. They were down 0-2. Tied it up. Cole Tapper on the right, then I assume that is Chelsea Williams, second from the right. Max Brennan is the longish hair. He's an American from Balboa Yacht Club. He is second from the left.
Oh,
and
that's right.
then Hamish Voss, I assume, is the taller gentleman in the middle. So Bravo Zulu to them, runners up, representing, I guess Cole is Cruising Yacht Club, right? Cruising Yacht Club? Sydney Cider. They were second, and of course our Fozy Jeffrey Peterson on the right in this photo with Justin Callahan. I believe Justin then is second from the right. Enzo Mendito is second from the left. Daniel Pegg is in the middle, and obviously Marbella Marlowe is far left. And they got a lot of world coverage, a lot of press coverage here in the U.S., including after they won the Gerard Bossy Trophy. Now, the Gerard's the late great Gerard Bossy was a umpire from France, one of the very first and best umpires from France, and he was terrific and a good friend. He didn't have much to say, but he was a great umpire, and I did a lot of umpiring with him, 2 Olympics and more. And he has, the World Sailing has donated a trophy in his honor for the team that comes out of the rounds robin at the Youth World Match Racing on top. And Jeffrey and Co. were undefeated in the rounds robin and were awarded the Gerard Bossy Trophy. It's not a great picture, but that's the best I could find.
Better than none.
Justin Callahan and Marbella Marlowe, both of whom are sailors at Harvard, got recognition, Julia, by their sports website, their Harvard sports website, for crewing for Jeffrey in the Youth World Match Racing and having won the trophy dedicated to Gerard Bossy. So bravo Zulu to them. Terrific stuff. And the results in the finals, excuse me, as we said, Cole Tapper took Ange Delerce to all 5 races, losing 2-3, 2 wins to 3. It could have been anybody's match. It could have been right to the end. And in the Petit Finale, that was also closely fought, as you can see.
Yes.
Didn't go 3-0. Jeffrey won 2-1 over another Australian, another Gov Cup alum, Will Sargent. So again, bravo Zulu to all of them. This was the top 6. Ange, Cole, Jeffrey, Will Sargent, Robbie McCutcheon, another Gov Cup alum from Oz. No, is he from Australia? Is Robbie? No, he's a Kiwi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Kiwi. And then Tom Higgins from Ireland, who was at the Gov Cup this year.
Time.
Nice kid, bright kid, very, 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 what's the word I want? Great manners. Well-behaved, not well-behaved, that sounds childish. He just had great manners, was a real gentleman. Thank you. Timothée Rossi, another Gov Cup alum from France, he did very well early on as well. Nicolas Bernal at the Gov Cup this year from Brazil. Brazil's coming on with match racing. And Jack Freeman also from New Zealand. And the Brit Benjamin tiled coat. You know, I like this youth match racing.
Mhm.
My favorite, Marius Westerlund from Sweden. And the Canadians back again. They were also for the first time in Gov Cup this year. Richard, not this gentleman, Richard Reichlich. He's a new name for me, but nice to see the Canadians back as well. So bravo Zulu
What's
all around.
what's fun is to see how many Gov Cup
Exactly.
people are in there, and that just doubles down the importance of Gov Cup.
Exactly. Okay, final slide here in this segment. I just want to give a bravo Zulu to the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. I'm not going to put any other photos in it, but there were a bunch of very cool photos about what they did for the kids. You can tell when the kids are, I mean, the kids, these are, young adults. They're in their 20s, most of them, 19, 20. But bravo Zulu, a class act to the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia for a job very well done. Okay, on more match racing, Julia.
Yes.
A little bit lighter air. This in Shenzhen in China, the World Match Racing Tour Finale. The final is going on in Shenzhen. Our good friend James Pleasance is there running the regatta, but they've had very little wind.
Oh, that's too bad.
And they've had late nights. Here is the video from yesterday, and then I'll play you the video from today as they're still in the rounds robin phase. Have a look.
The first day of the World Match Racing Tour Shenzhen Baoan Final closed with a magnificent opening ceremony to honor the visiting teams, with dignitaries from the Baoan district of Shenzhen, and the event sponsors welcoming the top 12 match racing teams from 9 countries to the event. Earlier in the day, competitors were met with a mix of conditions that tested their skills with a swirling light breeze in the One Design Far East 28 yachts.
Yesterday was a pretty tough day, light wind, trying to get caught up today, but here we are. So not a lot of breeze at the moment, and the forecast is not too good, but we're out here ready to go and hoping.
Through the afternoon, 4 flights were completed in difficult conditions, demanding precise boat handling.
Very tricky conditions here, shifty winds going up and down, but hopefully you're going to get some good wind in today, and I'm fortunate to have a good crew that helps me get the boat going.
Reigning World Match Racing Tour champion Nick Egnott Johnson from New Zealand scored 2 points, beating Sweden's Johnny Berntsen and Switzerland's Erik Mannen.
We just had a really close race against Johnny Berntsen and his boys from Sweden. He did a great job in the start. We ended up back to the line probably 30 seconds too early than we should have been. The boys did a great job of just going fast and staying composed, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
The USA's Chris Poole also scored 2 wins to reach 4 points.
We were racing against Matty Sepp, and we had a good pre-start, held him up in the dial-up for quite a bit, and then it was back to the line and had a little bump with an umpire boat. Some holes to watch out for on the race course, but otherwise it was good.
The 6th flight featured a tense match which could have gone either way with these 2 highly experienced teams. New Zealand's Gavin Brady against Sweden's Johnny Berntsen, with the Kiwi skipper triumphant.
Pre-start went our way. He sort of made a bit of a mistake and got locked between us and the committee boat, and then we nearly hit the committee boat, so it was all very close at the windward end. I think he's probably one of the hardest people to beat in these types of conditions, so it was a good win for us.
The final 2 flights of the day saw superbly tactical matches, but in the final rays of the sun, Ian Williams scored a point win over Megan Thompson, reaching the score in the dark.
We've had a little bit of a slow start on China 1 Ningbo. We're 2 wins, 3 losses, but hopefully we'll be able to get on top and get more wins than losses going forward.
You saw all that falderall at the beginning. I mean, it was an impressive opening ceremony and a lot of resources. I mean,
Right.
it's China. But you can also see how light it is, and the sailing conditions look dreadful.
That's really too bad.
Huh?
That's really too bad.
Don't you think?
Yes.
So, there'll be some criticism, again, of running regattas at places that aren't normally, proven sailing venues, shall we say, yacht racing venues. But we'll see. James is trying to keep the circuit together and keep it going in grand style. So it's a tough road for him to hoe, but he's doing it. So bravo Zulu to him so far. And look at the names. Look at the people there.
Yes. Yes.
And the competition's close. I'll show you the current results after. Well, today it's tomorrow down there over there. It's not really down over there. It's Saturday there, and they're about to get going with Saturday's racing. But let's watch today, meaning Friday's video, and some more interesting racing in the light.
The sun shone at the 2023 World Match Racing Tour final in Shenzhen, China, and the breeze built, allowing closer racing as the round-robin qualifying series lit up. After 2 days of light wind action, Sweden's Björn Hansen was undefeated and looks to be in sparkling form, but there are many more matches still to come.
It's been 2 amazing days for us. We have a 5-0 score, but we're not even halfway through the round robin yet, so anything can happen.
It's been a pretty challenging event. The conditions have made it tricky. We've been so close every time, but just on the wrong side of it. We just got to keep it close and just fix the little things that are going wrong.
The racing began with some fascinating matchups, and a masterful tactical race by Megan Thompson saw her take the victory over the Irish team of Rory Finnegan, despite a spirited effort by them. As the day progressed, a number of teams were making an impact on the scoreboard, with just the top 8 advancing to the quarterfinals. Italy's Rocco Attili taking the scalp of the defending World Tour champion, Nick Egnott-Johnson from New Zealand, to secure his 4th point and put him in contention.
It was a good match. We had a couple of change of leads during the match, and at the end it was a neck and neck until the finish line, so pretty fun, I must say.
In that same flight, Rory Finnegan was pitched against the #1 ranked match racer in the world, Chris Poole, and his Riptide Racing team, and took his most high-profile win so far, defeating the Americans.
It's always great to beat Chris, We've raced against him a couple times. It's another point on the board for us. It's been tricky conditions out here, so every win counts quite a lot. So yeah, we're just taking it race by race.
A 6 to 8 knot breeze held, and under Randy Smith's direction, the race management team pushed through the round-robin series, where the fate of many teams was sealed as the results came through, and it became super tense to see who would qualify. Gavin Brady's return to match racing this year showed he had lost little of his talent and finished on 6 points to put him in contention. 6 times world champion Ian Williams also finished the day with 6 wins, as did Nick Egnott-Johnson from New Zealand. For #1 ranked team in the world, Chris Poole, the pressure was truly on, having suffered 5 losses with 5 wins, as he went into his must-win final match of the round-robin series against the undefeated Swedish team of Björn Hansen on 8 wins.
It was our last race of this round-robin, and we haven't had the best day. But with Björn, we came out, we were pretty confident in our game plan. And on the downwind, the guys did a really nice job positioning to keep us in clear air and just stretch away enough to take the win.
Racing continued to sunset with 7 flights completed. Sweden's Johnny Berntsen came to form with an epic race win over Erik Mannen.
The Swiss guys are always really good in the light conditions. We actually managed to get a penalty because it was such a light jibe wind, which I thought we were doing clear, but you have to fill your main, which probably the umpire thought we didn't do, so we got a penalty there. But anyway, just managed to reach the pin and ahead of them. So a really tight race, and we're happy to get the point necessary.
Despite the loss, Erik Mannen from Switzerland had a good day and finished with 7 points.
We're able to win 4 out of 5 matches, so that's really good. We were at the lucky end often, so that was good for us, and every point is very, very important now.
Top-class international match racing at its best, and now a finely balanced position, with the top 8 advancing to the quarterfinals tomorrow. Bjørn Hansen has lost just one match and is sure to advance. But with 4 teams on 6 points, the battle in the final 2 round-robin flights is sure to be intense.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. Actually, a really nice video. Obviously, as John Emmett was saying, I don't know if it ever got to 8 nuts. What, you asked the question toward the end of that?
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Was that in reference to the jibing technique, or?
He just announced it that No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I don't remember now.
Okay. Yeah, and a couple of you commented whether that was actually a what's the word I want? AI, whether that was the voice, the announcer. I think it probably was, because I heard him say he struggled with the words match racing a couple times, but it's pretty good.
Mhm.
I thought that was about as good, Julia, an AI voice that I've heard.
If it was,
I think it was. I'm not 100% sure. I'll ask James. Ask James next time we see him. But interesting.
Stingray said, must get billions of views.
Well, he's being, Stingray. He's being facetious, and like his other comment, the several million Chinese in the grandstands all stood up and cheered when the asymmetrics got unfurled. John Emmett's talking about all the buildings that have gone up in the 5 years. He knows that part of the world pretty well, blocking the wind. But I think it's just not. They don't have a big sea breeze there.
Lily might do the. John Emmett says Lily might do the China one about M32 next year.
Okay, well, good. I hope she does. So let's carry on here, because Bjørn Hansen, who you all saw, and there was a good comment, the boss, as Gordon Smith's comment, way up above, the boss of Marstrand. Bjørn Hansen is bossing it. Yeah, he's doing well, especially in the light air, but also doing, as the Swiss Eric Monin with his team. And I've got there. See, now, these guys do it right. I didn't have to go searching around for their names. James Pleasance puts the picture up right below the picture, puts the names in the caption of the entire crew. And this is at the round robin phase, not at the prize giving.
Yeah, that's great.
That is the way to do it, right, Julia?
Absolutely.
Ian Williams, a perennial, what is he, 6 or 7 time World Match Racing Tour champ. He's a very bright guy, lawyer, Brit, and his team also doing well. They're in second or third, I can't remember, third, I think. And then the young upstart, who's, he's the defending, can't really call him an upstart, he's a Kiwi, who won it last year, Nick Egnott Johnson, another Gov Cup alum and winner, with his Knott's Racing team, and his mother, Leslie Egnott. You know who she is?
Yeah.
She steered Bill Koch's team in the 95 Cup, the all-women's team. She is a very fine sailor. I've known her since at least 95. So bravo Zulu to all of them. You can see, though, it's been darn light this whole series. There is a not quite as good as we saw in the video scorecard. We saw a better scorecard there, but you can see Bjørn Hansen is leading on having won 90% of his matches. And by the way, you can follow any match racing event. There is those of you who are match racing aficionados will know that it's called matchracingresults.com, I think is the URL. But you just go in match racing results, it pops up at the top of your Google search, and they have the results updated almost to the minute, not always perfectly, but almost to the minute of any match racing regatta. I mean, that last night,
it's been terrific.
We've been following, as you know, Julia, the youth match racing worlds, and this regatta gets updated as well. Matchracingresults.com, thanks to them for their continuing service. The regattas pay for it a little bit, they chip in, but it's a really nice service. So we'll see how that goes over the rest of the weekend. They're going to get into the semis and finals, and we'll report an update on Tuesday. Correct or Croutonic? I have a question for you.
Yes.
There's a lot of you commented about this. A lot of you commented that the finish line in Dubai at Sail GP last weekend was too bloody close to the grandstand, to the shore. Remember, they came in from the left, turned a buoy, and then sprinted across to the finish and had this photo finish right in front of the fans. And they had a good turnout. You can see there's a pretty good crowd there in the tribune, as you in the Commonwealth would call it, the grandstands, as we would probably call it. And is this positioning of the finish line correct or croutonic, I ask you? There is the view. We didn't have these photos on Tuesday's show. There is the view from one of the VIP booths, one of the, what do you call it in Formula One? I've forgotten already. It's been 20 years since I did Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
The Paddock Club. There we go. But look there's some people enjoying that finish.
Right.
There's even a arguably better shot. They've got a TV in the upper left corner in their booth, or a dozen, 2 dozen meters, maybe a little bit further than that, 20, 30 meters away from the finish line and the finished boats. Is this correct or croutonic to have it that close? Were they blocking the wind for these boats? Correct or croutonic?
Depends on who you are.
Well, that's what we're asking the experts here. The FOSI. Ed Worley saying, given the wind conditions, the placement of the finish was okay, correct. And what he means, I think, I haven't talked to him about it, but if you go back and look at this picture, the breeze is from the left side of that shot. The grandstands, the tribune, the shoreline is downwind of these boats. You can see the sails are on the port side. The boats are coming toward us. You can see the wind is coming from in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
So these stands, the Paddock Club, the shore is downwind of these boats. So I think, as Ted Ryman is saying, very cool being that close to the boats, the fans being that close.
Yes.
Commodore Atkins saying, fair to all competitors, as winning the corner was the race, therefore correct. Okay. Clark Chapin, as an inland lake sailor, I fail to see the problem. Steve Gruber saying, correct, the race course is the race course. Same for all teams. The best sailors in the world should be able to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody as the late great Commodore Harry Anderson of New York Yacht Club, anyone contrary minded?
No. No, it's be fun to watch it from that viewpoint.
Graham Sweeney saying, Top Gun move, permission to buzz the tower. Denied. And then, of course, they do it anyway. Correct. Another 5 meters or might have been better, but why not? So there's very few people here, Julia, if any.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody, in fact, who thinks it's croutonic. No. And how do you feel?
I like it because from a spectator's standpoint, it's very exciting. And they weren't in trouble at all.
So you agree?
Yeah.
Now, is that because you put your finger in the wind and saw what everybody else was saying? Usually I make you go first, but.
No, I was just, when I saw it the first time, I thought, oh my gosh, that's close. And then I realized that the wind wasn't that strong, and they seemed to be under control and close.
Okay, well, as there was another comment. Negative, Maverick. The pattern is full. That was the response from the tower on the ship, on the aircraft carrier. Mark Michelson chiming in. Hi, Mark, our weather guru here for Sailing Illustrated. Not sure you have covered it yet, but the wind for the WMRT in China should come up this morning from the north. We're at Saturday in China. Best of luck to Chris Poole and the Riptide Racing Team. Sounds like Mark has them as a client, is advising them.
Good.
John Emmett, we need to make sailing a more media spectator-friendly sport, just not at the cost of fair racing. Fair enough. Exactly right. The whole thing needs a rebuild from the rules up, Graham Sweeney says. Anfield, they had breeze, so that helped. It was the other unnamed events without breeze. It might have been a different story.
Mm-hmm.
The moment Sail GP is one of the most watchable sailing events, Emmett says. I think you agree with that too, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Sail GP, just to wrap that segment up, Australia, as you know, leading on 52 points. Rockwool, Denmark, that is Gordon Smith's favorite team, Nikolai Sehested, on 41 points in second. And the Kiwis, Peter Burling, in third on 40 points. The Brits, Sir Ben Ainsley, on 38. And the U.S. with new skipper Taylor Canfield, in fact, the new team, standing in fifth place. They will go at it again the 13th to the 14th of next month of January in the Abu Dhabi Sail GP. Julia,
sir,
we haven't done an America's Cup segment in a while on the Kiwis. We gave them a Bravo Zulu on Tuesday's show for the great job that they did winning in Jeddah.
Jeddah, yeah.
And also winning the last Sail GP event we've just been talking about. But let's now talk about the training that's going on, because they're doing some pretty amazing training. That is Grant Dalton's team. He's not only the CEO of the event, proudly so, but he also is the CEO of the team. Conflict of interest? What, me worry? Bloody hell. Okay, here's your AC37 Cup date with a video from Down Under from Auckland. Roll tape.
We're here with Blair Tuke, the flight controller for Emirates Team New Zealand on day 48 for the LEQ. Nice day out there today, champagne conditions, which we're seeing a lot of in Auckland. How was the boat feeling? How did everything go?
Yeah, great to be back into it. Last block before Christmas holiday time. Like I said, westerly breeze, anywhere between 12 and probably 17 knots. So nice to get back out there. Yeah, put the boat through paces. We've never really put a huge amount of emphasis on these first days back, or it takes a little bit for us to get back with the control after a few weeks off, but yeah, all in all, a pretty good day.
Yeah, nice. And congrats for the success in Jeddah too, by the way. Must be a little bit different coming back to this boat after sailing that boat. What are the differences that you notice most?
Yeah, well, we had a catamaran to control in between that too, so that always takes a little bit of time to sailing between the 3 different boats, but and even the conditions here, obviously in Tamaki Makaurau, are quite different. Pretty gusty, squally conditions, mostly pretty flat water, so quite different than those conditions we had in Jeddah with the more onshore steady conditions and quite reasonable sized shop.
And you're doing a lot of straight line testing out there today. Was that purely just to get back into the swing of things, or was there something you're focusing on out there?
Yeah, pretty much back into the swing of things, few things to try. So that was more focused on the straight line today. And we'll just see how that goes over the next week. Still a few things for us to tick off, like I said, before the Christmas break. So we'll get to the under our belts, go back, review now and then see how we attack the next 10 days.
Yeah, it looked like you were sailing quite a few different modes out there, upwind especially. Is that kind of something the designers are looking to explore over these next 10 days of testing?
Yeah, obviously each time we go out, we've got a list of things we want to get through, and today, we saw the boat sailed in a few different modes at times, so pretty happy with how that was going and the data we're getting back. So should be hopefully they're happy when we get ashore now.
Okay, so that's Team New Zealand, obviously foil testing. I quite like Blair Tuke, and I'm glad that we had that video because the guy's an amazing sailor. Doesn't get, he does probably in New Zealand gets a fair bit of the credit, but he's just an amazing, good sailor all around, and is a big part of this team from everything I hear.
Yes.
Plus, I miss Auckland.
Yes.
So it was nice to look at that video
Mm-hmm.
and all the stuff that was going on. That there was Maiden in the background photobombing it, as several of you said.
Yeah.
Great place to hold the AC. Nice breeze.
Right.
Ted Ryman is saying, yeah, indeed. Indeed. Stingray's liking this recon program. Well, I still think the recon program is a bit croutonic. It's really not a recon program. It's a media program. It's to build media to send out lots and lots of footage of these teams training. In fact, I think it's too much, and I don't think it's very interesting. That piece was, they're foil testing, but what did we learn? That they're foil testing.
Right.
You can see them towing presumably different shapes, sets of foils. Okay. BFD, as well. Did I say that?
Yes.
It's a media feed. Exactly, Graham Sweeney. Graham Sweeney is so smart.
He is.
I should call him up before the show and have him feed me these lines.
I know.
It's a media feed.
Yeah.
What is wrong with a media recon program? Gordon Smith asking. Oh, nothing, Gordon. Nothing at all. Okay, we're going to do another poll. That was rather popular on Tuesday when we did our first ever.
Yes.
I like the ethereal music that I chose for this.
Mm-hmm. Non-biased.
For our new Sailing Illustrated segment, the FOSI poll. This is a very simple poll, but we'll see if it's controversial or not. Here is the question. Do you know that yacht, Julia? What if anybody gets that yacht? It's new.
Yeah.
Launched this summer, or maybe this spring.
It's not the Russian one.
No. It belongs to Mr. Amazon.
Oh, that's
Fog
right.
Machine's got it. He didn't spell it correctly, but that is the sailing vessel Kourou. This from the New York Times. Mr. Bezos' vessel is a sailing yacht, a departure from the diesel-powered, as if this thing is not diesel-powered.
Mm-hmm.
I had to laugh when I read that.
Mm.
The diesel-powered floating palace is popular with other billionaires, but it is still massive. At 417 feet, Kourou is the world's largest sailing yacht, according to Boat International, and it costs an estimated $500 million, a cool half a bill, to build, according to Bloomberg. Parsifal 3, the boat featured on Bravo's, I don't know if you see it outside the U.S. I know it's very popular here in the U.S. That Below Deck sailing yacht is one of the several spin-offs of Below Deck. But the Parsifal 3 is 177 feet long, not meters. So it's less than half the length of Kourou. And it costs $18 million, according to Super Yacht Fan, the website. So we ask in our poll, Julia.
Yes.
Our SI poll is Kourou, the yacht, is it good, bad, or ugly? Because it's getting a lot of ink. Some people think it's beautiful, wonderful. Some people think it's not so wonderful. And some people think it's downright fugly. Here's a video that you can watch from just a few days ago, close up. Yeah, it even has the diesel-powered support yacht, half the size. Beautiful, good, bad, or otherwise. Good, bad, or fugly. What do you think, Julia?
Well, I don't think it's especially beautiful. I would like to say so, but
if money were no object, would you have that yacht? If you were worth $100 billion and could afford that yacht, would you like that yacht? And the maintenance. I mean, it costs millions of dollars a day just to run it.
Right.
Here, I'll give you another look at it. There you go. What do you think of that?
Interior like? Well,
the interior is like most of these yachts is spectacular. It's beautiful. But from the outside, is it good, bad, or ugly? J. Frederick Bland says, work boat lines, nothing special.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge, Batten Kennan saying, I think the yacht will age well. Okay. Clayton Embley, as I think I said, I've seen worse. Mark Michelson, for a large sailing yacht, it is pretty good looking. Clark Chapin, I'd say that it is a BFY, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Gave a lot of jobs, Ed Worley saying. Yeah, it sure did. It looks boring for $500 million, Ted Ryman is saying. Yeah, Gaff Rigger. Well, anybody, people are, it doesn't look like people have strong opinions, Julia.
I would hope that people are on it and having a good time, and that might make it feel better.
Stingray. It's no J-boat. That was Clayton Embley. Looks beautiful, the Stingray. John Mangino, better looking than the Maltese Falcon. I think I agree with that. I think I agree with John on that. That was an interesting boat. Hello, Don Lunabos, checking in from Sonoma. Less bad than a diesel power vessel. Definitely ugly, Chris Exley says. Have you seen the sailing yacht A? The ugly. Yeah, that one's pretty ugly. I agree. I think most people would. David James said if he had all that money, he didn't say it in so few words, but I would have a J and a great chase boat. Good chase yacht. If she's, okay, there's a work boat. So no strong feelings. Steve Gruber saying the biggest order ever for North Sails won here's. Spars, rigging, and sails. Unfortunately for Bezos, Mr. Bezos, when he found out he couldn't land a chopper on it, he had to build a 200-foot power tender. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Okay, doesn't seem like any strong opinions. Where the hell can you berth a 450-foot? Yeah, well, they can't. They have to anchor out all the time, which is why in that video, I'll go back and show you that video. Where is that video? Where's that video? Let's play that again for you. Why doesn't that play? Can I get that to play? I guess that's the end of the video. Here you go. You can see she's anchored out. This is in the Caribbean somewhere. I know that our Fozy, Bill Canfield, has seen this boat lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. St. Thomas. This may actually be in St. Thomas.
I don't know it.
Yeah, Bezos is not a yachtsman. He doesn't know beautiful. There's Canfield. This is speaking of Mr. President Bill Canfield.
Yes.
I agree. I would order a J-boat, John Mangino is saying. Okay, so much for that. Our latest Fozy poll. Carew, good, bad, or ugly? The wide range of views. Nobody thinks it's beautiful. I'm not sure anybody's saying it's just a spectacularly beautiful yacht.
It might be very serviceable, and somebody says it'll age well. Probably will.
The Dolphin striker on the front is fugly. Clark Chapin is saying. True. It looks like apartment buildings in the center, Clayton Embley. Yeah, that's what the criticism from a lot of people is. It looks like somebody stuck a small cruise ship on top of on the deck of a sailing yacht. He might have a big boat, but does he have real friends? Jody Shield. Reminds me of steam yachts from the 1890s. Now the opinions are starting to flow in, Julia.
Yes.
Beauty, we'll leave. Pedro foiling sailor Peter Stevenson gets a final say. Beauty, as always, is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, so much for Cora. We beat that one to death. That brings us to the last leg. And there is a video from the RORC that is just out. And it's a preview of their fantastic looking 2024 season. And here is that video. were saying while we were watching that, it's got to be a lot of work to go to all those. And of course, the RORC members don't go to all of them.
Right.
But they go to a fair number of them, including our good friend, Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin, who's a former admiral of the RORC.
Isn't he still?
I don't think he's still the admiral. I think he's a former admiral. But he's, of course, a member of the squadron, the Royal Yacht Squadron, too. One hears, by the way, that Jimmy Spithill is about to become a member of the squadron.
Oh, good.
So I think that's kind of cool. Or sorry, the Royal Ocean Racing Club, not the squadron.
Yeah.
RORC has a cool clubhouse in St. James Place in central London. And I've stayed there, I don't know, not many times, 2 or 3 times. I usually stay at the Royal Thames, or did when I was frequenting London for meetings. Nice stuff. Bravo Zulu to the Rourke, the RORC, for a nice video. What looks like a terrific year. I mean, you talk about a lot of work, Julia. Putting all those events on is a major undertaking.
Yeah.
Okay, we are to the D block and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. We have quite a few today as we're getting to the holiday season, and several of you sent in, well, some are questionable, but we dedicated this one to Andrew McIrvin. The doctor said I need to eat more fish. You know, Andrew's watching. He'll know why I put this in.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
You know why?
Yes.
Dedicated to Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin, the cardiologist. LOL. Eat more fish, especially salmon. You were going to say?
Oh, yeah. And I'm waiting for crab season to finally open.
Has it not opened here yet?
No, 21st. It's been delayed 3 times.
Because of what?
Whales.
Whales? Okay, well, there's our first one. I'm not sure who sent that to me. Now, here's one that came just before we went to air, Julia. I told you Ryman had sent us one that was, shall we say, spicy. I'm Carmen. I gave myself that name because I like cars and men. You want to read it, or shall I?
Well, allow me to introduce myself. I'm BJ Tits and Golf.
Does that deserve a finger wag? You like that one?
It's not so funny.
Not so funny. Okay, Ryman, you got away with it. Ted got away with it. No finger wag from Julia. Thank you, Ted, for that one. I tell you, I can't use many of his. Most of them are funny, but they're bawdy. Martha Peterson sent this one in. She said, I went to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. Anonymous my ass. I knew everyone there. As we're getting into the holiday season.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Of course, I'm not drinking, so I wouldn't know about an AA meeting. My name should be Beer Boob. Jody Shields said. Ted, Gordon Smith liked that one. He laughed.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, speaking of the holidays, another one from Martha Peterson. I'm trying very hard to get into the Christmas spirit, but the damn cork won't pull out. Okay.
Yes.
And Martha, one more from her. She said, you can be your own secret Santa with tequila and Amazon Prime. Get some tequila, Julia.
Oh, I do have a great
That's right.
bottle.
You have that bottle from Peter Taylor.
Yes.
Sandy. It's sitting on my bar. We got to take that upstairs to your place.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, one more. This came from the Fuzzy Fozzy from Rick Bannerow. And I better put it up here. This is an oldie but goodie. You know, every year, every Christmas, we see this. Somebody sticks a wind vane, a masthead fly on the top of their Christmas tree as their Christmas sailing ornament. And that's a Windex. And that puts us in the spirit. Thanks, Rick Bannerow. I like that. I should probably get one of those. Those are expensive. They're like 30 or 35 bucks, so they used to be. I always had one of those on the top of my mast when I was racing at the Portage Yacht Club. Jonathan Shore liked that one.
Yeah.
Give you an idea for the top of your tree if you haven't already topped it. Gets us to the finish line. Thank goodness we're an hour and a half into this show. Julia, you're a witness.
Yes. Please like, follow and share this broadcast. People appreciate it very much, and so do we.
They do indeed, and we always appreciate comments too. You like to tell us to go back and read the comments.
Always. I do read them as they come, but I've always forget some, so I always go back and read. And there's lots of stuff that's funny and good and informative.
Yeah, not so funny, not so good. And me gasbagging and me babbling on. You can skip over that, though. Gordon Smith, thanks to all. Have a great weekend. Davis masthead flies up to $45, Fog Machine said. Yeah, I remember when they were like 15 or 20, but I know they're quite a bit more. Great, good show as always. Absolutely excellent. Thank you, Joe Holtzman. Morgan Pinckney is on. Morgan! Talk about Gov Cup alums.
Right.
And terrific sale. I'm using that idea when I get home. I have a spare one from my laser. Apparently, he's going to put that on top of his Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan, nice to see you on here. I will not make it down to the Christmas party tomorrow night. I hope you're there for the It's Okay Christmas party. Please do enjoy. Julia?
Sir.
Sailing Illustrated, we appreciate so much, especially in this holiday season. Thanks to everyone for their support, all of our FOSI, all of our patrons, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Morgan says he's stuck in New Haven because, you know, he's in school at Yale.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know
in
if
the
it's 'cause
trenches for finals.
he's still studying for finals, has finals, but he's not going to make it to Newport Beach. Hey, by the way, those of you in the Newport Beach area, this lighted boat parade, they call it something else, the Christmas or the holiday boat parade down there, started Wednesday night, goes through, I think, Saturday night, maybe Sunday night even. And it's, you know, competes, they started it back over 100 years ago in the late 1800s to compete with the Rose Parade, excuse me, in Pasadena, to get tourists to come to Newport Beach instead of just to Pasadena, LA. And it's a fabulous show. If you're in the area, stopping by, and there's lots of places, you can view it anywhere around the harbor, Newport Harbor. And it's every night at, I don't know, 6 o'clock.
Is there a way to look at it if you're not there?
No, I don't think it's live streamed. Maybe we should do that some year. We should offer to live stream the show, because I'll tell you what, it's fabulous.
Yes.
A lot of the television stations will run video of it, you know, and there, in fact, I've seen some video from some of the local TV stations. I didn't put it in the show, but parade goes through Sunday night. Mary Longpre's watching with fireworks the last night. Okay. Thank you for that, Mary Longpre. Thanks to all of you. Appreciate very much your weighing in today with comments and with continuing support. We also continue to support and thank all of these people who give us video, audio, and images, without whom we could not have these twice a week shows.
Absolutely.
Thank you all, and we hope you have a great rest of your weekend wherever in the world you are. And if you're just getting started on your weekend, have a fabulous Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see you on Tuesday. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.